that you are well, and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 8 English lesson on evidence and claims, right? So, we'll be doing our grade 8 English lesson on evidence and claims, or we can call it claims and evidence, right? And we're going to basically find out what are claims and what are evidence. And before we do so, we're going to log into aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with your username as well as your password, and then we're going to select the subject of language arts, grade 8. And once we've selected the subject of language arts, grade 8, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of claims and evidence. Claims and evidence. So we're basically going to find out today what are claims and what are evidence, right? So we see our chapter is claims and evidence. The subject is English language arts, grade 8. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on today under the chapter of claims and evidence is to is to distinguish facts from opinions and to identify the thesis statement. So we're going to distinguish facts from opinions and to identify thesis statement. So that is basically going to be our lessons for today under our chapter on claims and evidence. And we are doing our tutorial lesson on aplusstudents.ca. All right, so when it comes to distinguishing facts from opinions, right? A fact. So basically, we need to know what facts are and we need to know what opinions are and how we will be able to distinguish between the two. Actually, also how and when you need to use facts or give opinions, right? So a fact, it is something that can be proven. So a fact is something that can be proven either by someone who did research or someone who did an observation, right? So we may be talking about let's say the war that is going on, right, between Ukraine and so on. Facts are things that researchers or journalists have observed so far, right? It will be on the news, right? Because those are facts now, because they need to first research it, they need to follow up on it before it even goes to air on news. But now, an opinion is where you basically give your thoughts and your opinions on what you think is happening and what you think are the reasons, because now we give reasons based on how we feel about certain things, right? But a fact is something that can be proven by research and by observation, right? So it's an ongoing thing. For example, Napoleon Bonaparte was shorter than King Louis the 15th, right? That's 16th. So that is basically a fact. And the reason why it's a fact is because if you go and research Napoleon Bonaparte and King Louis, right? If you go and research that and you literally type in that whole let's say fact, and then it will basically pop up on the internet if you do so. So anything that you can now go to the internet to and it will pop up as somebody researched it, or let's say it was researched by certain let's say writers, or it was observed, right? Properly observed, then by all means, those are facts. And then the statement above is a fact, right, which is Napoleon Bonaparte. And the statement can be proved by researching the height of each man and comparing it. So if you research the height of each man or each man and comparing them, then that is one of it that's going to pop up. So once again, a fact is something that can be proven by research. It can be proven by observation, and that is a fact. If you are going to say something and you refer back to an article, you refer back to a date, you refer back to something where authors or writers or um, people have, researchers have dated stuff, research stuff, observe stuff, then that is a fact. Then an opinion. And an opinion is something that a person believes, that a person thinks or feels. And an opinion, it cannot be proven. And that is why I was making an example of Ukraine, that situation, right? And I specifically said that facts are things that are either on the news or things that we can research or things that they have, that the journalists or people have observed so far, and now they're putting it on the internet. So if we type in, for example, the war or whatever between Ukraine and whatever, and then that will pop up, right? However, if they ask you something, if they ask your opinion based on it, your opinion is not going to be on the internet because you are going to give an answer based on how you feel. And that is why they say that we as people are emotional beings, right? Because we are going to basically give an opinion based on how we feel, specifically based on our emotions. We're also going to give an opinion based on what we believe, right? And what you think. That is how you are going to basically describe or opinionate about. And an opinion, it cannot be proven, unfortunately. So we said that an opinion, right? It is something that a person believes, something that someone thinks, and then someone feels, right? And also, like we said, an opinion cannot be proven because nobody researched your opinion, nobody observed your opinion. So basically, if we look at the sentence, it says Napoleon Bonaparte was a better leader than King Louis. So Napoleon Bonaparte was a better leader than King Louis. And this statement over here now, it is an opinion. And why do we say it's an opinion? Because people can have different ideas and views and beliefs about what makes someone a better person or better leader, right? So, which means that the statements cannot be proven. And if it can be proven now, but it cannot be proven at all. So, just to go over it again, we say that a fact is something that can be proven by research and observation, right? Whereas an opinion is something that a person believes, something that a person thinks or feels. So these, like basically opinions, it cannot be proven. That is why it's your opinion. That is how you feel. Okay. That's what you believe in. Okay. Right? So these are, or that is an opinion compared to a fact. Because remember, facts can be proven, opinion cannot. So that is basically where even our heading or our chapter comes from, which is which talks about evidence and claims, right? All right. So before we go on to what a thesis statement is, right? We said a fact is something that can be proven, right? Either by research or observation. So now we are moving on to our thesis statement, right? And a thesis statement is a statement, or let's say a thesis statement, is a central claim that you intend to argue in a paper. So it tells the readers basically your opinion or your position about a topic. And a thesis statement is often the answer to a research question supported with evidence. So basically, you'll have a research question, right? And in your whole paper, it's basically you just trying to answer that research question. So, once again, your thesis statement is a central claim that you intend to argue within a paper, right? So, it is a central claim that you intend to argue within a paper. This is now when you are writing something, either writing, let's say, your thesis or something. Then your thesis statement, it's a central claim that you intend to argue within a paper. So it's a claim that you intend to argue within a paper, and it tells your readers about the position about your topic. Tells the readers your opinion or your position about a topic. And a thesis statement is often the answer to a research question supported with ideas. So, for example, right, the topic is bullying in the US schools, right? If it's bullying within the US schools, then we will have a research question. And the research question will probably go like this: how should schools in the US respond to bullying? Right? So if our topic is bullying in the US schools, and then our research question should be like, how should schools in the US respond to bullying? And then the fact, right, is bullying is not considered an illegal offense in the United States. So we see that facts about the research question and topic is, for example, bullying is not considered an illegal offense within the United States. So when it comes to your thesis statement, right, your thesis statement is to better protect the student. The school in the USA or in the US should enact zero tolerance policies towards bullying. So when it also comes to a thesis statement, you need to remember that your thesis statement must state your opinion about the topic. An opinion. Basically, your opinion is how you, it's almost like what you think about it, right? How you feel about that specific, or it's basically how you're arguing the topic, right? What are the things that you intend to argue within the paper? And also, even though you're giving your opinion, it needs to be supported by facts, right? You give your opinion, yes, but it needs to also be supported by facts. Your thesis statement. And when it comes to your thesis statement, it shouldn't just announce what topic you'll be covering within the paper. And that is why they are saying you need to expand on how you feel by also giving your opinion, right? And this paper will discuss how schools in the US should respond to bullying. This announces what topics will be discovered, but it does not give an opinion about the topic, so it is not a thesis statement. And we said we're doing our tutorial lesson on A plus students.ca. So now we're going to distinguish facts from opinions. And we said a fact is something that can be proven by research or observation, right? Whereas an opinion is something that a person believes, thinks, or feels. An opinion can be proven. So, once again, a fact is something that can be proven by research and observation, whereas an opinion is something that you believe in, something that you think and you feel. And an opinion, it cannot be proven. So now it says, what sentence states a fact? It says almost 70% of respondents to a 2011 Pew Research survey said that they value space exploration. They're only giving us one sentence. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it says almost 70% of respondents to a 2011 Pew Research survey said that they value space exploration, even if most Americans say that they approve of NASA's mission. The organization receives too much public funding. So, which means that if we were to state the facts, right? And then, like here it says, almost 70% of respondents to a 2011 Pew Research survey said that they value space exploration. And that is our answer. Now we need to say which one is right. Is it a parlor? Poker is a physical discipline that involves getting from one point to another while navigating obstacles along the way. So parlor is or poker is a physical discipline that involves getting from one point to another while navigating obstacles along the way. Remember, a fact is something that can be researched or that is properly observed. That's a fact. So we need to choose the facts. Its poker is a physical discipline that involves getting from one point to another while navigating obstacles along the way. Or the greatest benefit of poker training is that it teaches people to see obstacles and challenges as opinions. That seems like someone's opinion, which means that we will go with poker is a physical discipline that involves getting from one point to another while navigating obstacles along the way. So that is facts. And now let's go to our test where we will distinguish from facts and opinions. So we need to say which is a fact, right? Which sentence states a fact? Is it all of all the species of damn selfish, the blue chromis is the most striking in terms of color, or the vitamins in a blue chromos diet can affect how brightly the fish's color appear. So it's either of all the species of damselfish, the blue chromis is the most striking in terms of color, or the vitamins in a blue chromis diet can affect how brightly the fish's color appear. So which means that we're going to choose the second one. And that is a fact, right? Because certain colors does change either the water, change something. Which statement states facts? Of all those who fought to put an end to slavery in America, the writer and abolitionist Frederick Douglass had the greatest influence. Yeah, so if we look at the facts, right? Okay, let's read number two. It says during the Civil War, Frederick Douglass spoke to President Abraham Lincoln about the treatment of African American soldiers. So let's choose the second one. And the second one is correct. So well done. Yes, it is a fact, right? And now we need to state the fact. Mia Hamm was the most impressive soccer player in the history of United States women's team champion, or Mia Hamm helped the soccer team at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill win 4 NCAA titles. So if we look at the facts, we're going to choose the second one, right? Where Mia, she helped her soccer team. And that is correct. So well done. She helped her soccer team. Which sentence states a fact? So if we look at the facts, then we can maybe say Wicked starred Christian and Idina when it opened on Broadway on 2003. Wicked starred Kristen and Idina when it opened on Broadway on 30 October. And yes, we can say that she starred them. Well done. Yeah, number one is correct. So now we chose the first one already. So we need to now state another fact, right? It costs over $200,000 per hour to fly Air Force One. And the official airplane, one of the president of what the official airplane of the president of one of the United States. So it costs over $200,000 per hour to fly Air Force One, the official airplane of the President of the United States. So it costs over $200,000 per hour to fly Air Force One, right? So which means that we're going to choose option one because people have been saying that flying Air Force One or an aircraft is expensive. So well done. Number one is correct. And certain insects, they help flowering plants reproduce by moving pollen between the plant's different parts. Or tomato plants with their bright colors and sturdy vines, they make attractive additions to home gardens. So if we choose the correct one, we will say, let's go with the first one, right? Because the first one says certain insects that help flowering plants produce by moving pollen between the different parts. Yes, and you also have number one. Let's see. And number one is correct. So well done. Mm. Now, which sentence states a fact? Ennio Morricone composed the music for the 1969 spaghetti western Once Upon a Time in the West, or the 1969 spaghetti western Once Upon a Time in the West is director Sergio Leone's worst movie. So which we're going to stick the fact, right? So is it Ennio Morricone composed the music for the 1969 spaghetti western Once Upon a Time in the West, or the 1969 spaghetti western Once Upon a Time in the West is director Sergio Leone's first movie? I think let's go with option one. And yes, option one is correct. So well done. Option one is correct. And now, which sentence states a fact? Born blind, baby squirrels depend on their mothers for 2 or 3 months after birth. Or the American red squirrel or Tamias sciurus Hudsonicus looks graceful as it leaps from tree to tree, right? So we need to say which one we think is a fact. Born baby squirrels depend on their mothers for 3 months after birth. So we can then, if we choose the correct one, they say which sentence states a fact. Born blind, baby squirrels depend on their mothers for 2 or 3 months after birth. Let's go with this one. And the American red squirrel looks gracefully as it leaps from tree to tree. Let's try the first one. Ah, and the first one is correct, right? Because I know they do depend on their mothers. That was basically just me taking a leap. But number one is correct. Which sentence states a fact? It says, the black cat and the telltale heart are Edgar Allan Poe's scariest short story. Or is it Edgar Allan Poe sold his short story, The Fall of the House of Usher, to Burton's Gentleman's Magazine for $10 in 1839? And if we want to choose the correct one, then we'll go with the second one, right? Because Edgar Allan Poe, he sold his short story, The Fall of the House of Usher. And number two is correct. Well done. And let's go to the last one. Which sentence states a fact? Almost 70% of almost 70% of respondents to a 2011 Pew Research survey said that they value space exploration. So almost 70% of respondents to 2011 Pew Research survey said that they value space exploration, or even if most Americans say that they approve of NASA's missions, the organization receives too much public funding. So if we choose the correct one, we can say almost 70% of the respondents to a 2011 Pew Research survey said that they value space exploration, right? So those are all facts. And remember, as much as we are not just doing the test and we are most times just guessing, right? When it comes to the difference between facts and opinions, remember a fact is something that someone had researched or that someone had observed over time, right? So they basically make their observations and write their research based on what they have seen over time. Um, and also when it comes to facts, right, it is it needs to be a thorough like investigation type of thing, or an observation. Let's not use the word investigation, it's an observation, right, before it is either put on the internet or somewhere where we will be able to have access to it, we as the public, right? And then we have an opinion, right? And your opinion is basically how you feel about certain things, right? What you think about certain things and what you believe about certain things or actions, right? It is not your fact. It is not your it's not something that will be researched, right? This is basically just your opinion as to what you think it is, what you feel about it, and also what you believe about it. So that is the difference between having facts and also your opinions about certain things. All right. So that is basically the end of our lesson on claims and evidence, right? So we basically mainly focus on we basically focus on the distinguished facts from our opinions, right? And when we distinguish facts from opinions, it's like I say, facts can be observed or is an observed thing, and it can be researched. It's on the internet, it is there. Whereas your opinion, it cannot be researched. It is basically just how you feel and what you believe about it, right? So that is the end of our lesson, grade 8 on claims and evidence. Thank you very much for joining the class. Thank you very much for interacting, right? And I really hope you're going to have a good day further. Goodbye.